Hi all, I've been getting a lot of questions about the electric Eunos. It's 95% complete, so I figured I'd just put a quick YouTube post up to let people know how it's looking and what we're up to. It's a 144 volt DC unit, and I'll just run through the basics. Okay, we start off with a standard Australian general power outlet going into the car where the old filler used to be. In Australia we use 240 volts and up to 10 amps. This will draw about 7 amps while charging. In the boot, we have a pretty standard boot. We didn't cut into the boot at all. All the batteries have gone where the petrol tank used to be. So we'll just run to that. From power we come into the battery management system over there, which switches the battery charging unit over here, and this charges all the batteries. The batteries are in 3 rows here, 1, 2 and a smaller row here, and then they run to the front. Across here, back down to here and to the control panel. So that's all that's required for charging. When it comes time to actually using that power, the power comes from the batteries through an emergency stop button and up through here, through the fuse, through the contactor and to our MC6000S 600 amp controller. Now I'm using 90 amp hour batteries, so I can only pull about 300 amps at any given time, underutilizing the controller, but that's okay. It then runs down to the Warp 9 motor. And probably the only 2 things that I'll draw your attention to in the engine bay are the electric vacuum pump to vacuum pump the brakes, and that this is a Eunos Roadster as opposed to an MX-5 or a Miata, so there's power steering and there's air conditioning built into the car. In terms of instrumentation, we run a current meter and a voltmeter into the dash. And the current meter's gone where the old oil temperature used to be, with a voltmeter down where the old, actually that used to be the engine temperature. And I have some instrumentation that gives me a state of charge out of the old fuel gauge. We do have a heater here next to the emergency stop button on the inside of the console. There's an on-off button for the heater that runs a ceramic heater inside the car. So that's about it. I'll give it a bit of a fire up and we might do a bit of a drive past on the street and see how it goes.